and welcome
to the episode. Sorry, I'm just checking everything because the mic is like tilted away from us. There we go. Better. Okay.
Hello, and welcome to the Ketchup Corner.
You did it twice.
Well, I figured we might cut the first one.
An intro so nice, you did it twice.
Okay.
Are we going to cut that? Should we cut that?
No, it's fine.
Okay, now we have to.
No, we don't even have to.
Are we sure?
We're just going to roll it with it. It's fine.
Fuck it. I don't give a shit.
Fine. We're not professionals. It's fine.
Yeah, that's true.
I saw you have a panic attack because I accidentally just kicked the wire.
Yeah, I did have a panic attack. You really... This is the greatest intro of our podcast yet. You really just gave me a stroke and a half there. I got work in like 2 hours. You can't do that to me.
Keep it up, and I'm gonna ask your dad what the joke of the day is.
Okay.
And that's gonna be our opening to the podcast.
All right, cool. That's a weird segment. Anyways, we're here. We're back with more Star Wars after that Burnout episode.
Yes.
Good times. We're going to finish this month as strong as we can. What are we talking about today?
We're talking about Andor today, which is probably the show that has made me the saddest so far.
Are you surprised?
No.
Yeah.
What is Andor? Andor is mainly Cassian's story, if you watched Rogue One. But there's also a lot of other key players, and it's basically a show about the rebellion.
Yep. And you watch this show, and then you jump right into Rogue One, and there you go. Yeah. You know, like, my whole independent film statement draws farther and farther away from the truth the more we unveil the curtain. So, but again, if you don't need Andor to watch Rogue One, I guess. If you just want that, and then you can just watch Rogue... I don't know. I digress. You know, we needed something for that episode. Shut up. Anyways, we need to group it in somewhere. Anyways, Andor itself. 2 seasons, about, 24 episodes, I want to say?
Yep, 24 episodes, 12 episodes each season.
Yep.
All ranging from 40 minutes to an hour.
This is the show that had a season 2 last year being 2025. The show is officially over because obviously the ending ties back to Rogue One, so there is no more plot to be had. What did you think about this? Let's.
It made me sad.
Okay, other than that, we get it. You're depressed. Big whoop.
That's so mean.
But it's true for us. We
so
should talk each other for that. Okay,
mean.
seriously. I am kidding in all seriousness. This is our banter. But I was going to do a follow-up afterwards. And I'm not going to do that. I was going to say, you're depressed even without the show. That's love right there for us. But even then, other than making you sad, this is widely regarded as one of, if not the best Star Wars shows. If you do not have this in your top 3, if not favorite show over Clone Wars, I've seen a lot of Star Wars fans get fucking pissed. Very pissed. And I'm going to say my thought for a sec. What did you think? Where does this put for you? How did you feel about the show?
I think this is one of the best, the best shows so far. Obviously, yes. I have not finished the Clone Wars yet. I'm only 5 episodes in.
Yeah.
Which we're still hoping to talk about. I know we said there's going to be some readjustments. We're still hoping to talk about at least half of the Clone Wars this month.
Yes, the first 3 seasons maybe. We'll see.
Yeah.
But, okay, cool. So you do agree. It is one of the best.
I do agree. I think this show specifically, though, is the one that put me in the slump. Because there is, knowing what's going to happen already, having watched Rogue One, and just knowing that there literally is no hope in this series, and investing all of that time. It's like at the beginning when I said that it's really hard for me to be invested in a show if I know it's canceled. I have a really hard time getting invested into a show or like having any hope for a show if I know the way that it ends already. And obviously, like, you're meant to know how it ends. So
obviously,
it's
this is no surprise to, like, you know, seasoned people. In regards, maybe I could have done, like, an Andor. Instead of grouping Rogue One with, like, the independent films, maybe I could have grouped Andor and Rogue One into their own episode.
That would have made it so much worse.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah. Like, you watch Andor first, and then you watch Rogue One.
Yeah, that would have made it so much worse
Would it have made it worse?
Not worse in a bad way, but, like, I think I would have felt the
tension,
the slump, the burnout a little bit more. just because at least in most other Star Wars productions there we get that little bit of hope and not everybody dies.
I mean, it's that realism of war. Keep in mind, this is the most
know.
realistic. Again, a lot of things. Like, this is a show that, quite frankly, references a lot of allegories to what's happening now. The biggest one being Palestine, obviously, and you could see it there, right? It's not fun. I'm getting teared up just thinking about it. It's a hard show to watch. And let's get the easiest thing I feel like out of the way. When there was action in the show, what did you think of the action, at least? Like, the very glimpses of action. Because you can agree, I don't think the war part of this is not as action-packed, right?
Yeah, agreed. I think this is much more character-based.
Yes.
Which is honestly perfect for me. I love character-based things.
Yeah.
But, like, this wasn't just character-based. Okay, I'll answer your question first, and then I'll
you got a lot to say already. Shit.
I do have a lot to say.
We got a time. This is the one episode I was excited for, but we have to time cap on, because I got work at 5.
I know. You should have just called out.
I can't call out. I like my boss too much, and I respect her more than I respect the store, so, you know.
No, the action scenes, few and far between, but phenomenal and impactful when they were there. And that is probably one of the most important things that I look for in any action scenes is it impactful or is it just there for the dramatic effect? These were there for a purpose.
Yeah.
I really, I think these
all
are
there
probably some of the best action scenes in any of the Star Wars productions that we have watched so far.
Any of them?
Probably.
Wow.
Because they're the most impactful. Like, yeah, we've had some.
What about Rogue One's battle, which follows with this?
Yeah.
What about that one? That was also wicked impactful too, honestly. And
I know. I said some of the best.
Okay.
Because there are still some scenes. Like, I feel like the lightsaber battles in other movies that we have watched, that like Obi-Wan and Anakin's battles.
Darth Maul, Qui-Gon Jinn.
Yeah, those are usually more like impactful to me because I have a connection with those characters already and they have a connection to each other.
Yeah.
I do think these are some of the better battles that like aren't lightsaber
grander
duels.
Scope.
Yeah.
Grander scope. Like, yeah, they're like there's character driven stuff obviously, but it's an army grander scope. Okay, I get what you mean. Yeah.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I feel like this series is as a whole. First of all, any other comments on action?
No.
Okay. So, in that regard then, in general, this series is, again, not as much action as a typical Star Wars production. This does have a lot more of the war aspect in everything else. Like, literally the war aspect of Star Wars is on full display here. It's a lot more driven between different chess pieces. It then is about the execution of said chess pieces being moved around. It literally is like playing with lives in the grander scheme's hands. Like, the galaxy isn't even a character in this, I'd say. It's the people in the galaxy that make this up and are the hugest part of this because they are fighting for the character that is also known as the galaxy. So what did you think about taking that away? Because there's a good mix of both in Rogue One, I feel like. This is, like, way more character-driven. Like, way more character-driven. So, like, what did you think, especially seeing the deeper politics of this war side? This is, in a way, one of the heaviest political pieces in this known franchise. Yeah. So what did you think of it all?
It showed a lot more of, like, the underground. I feel like with the Star Wars movies, we see more, like, they're front and center, they're battling. This shows, like, the full ins and outs, the pipelines of everybody, like how everybody's connected to each other, and I really like that. Like, at first I wasn't sure about Mon's character. I wasn't sure.
Mothma?
Yeah, I wasn't sure how she was
God.
connected or how like that whole thing was gonna play out, but she ended up playing like a deeper role than I originally thought.
Well, I mean, she is one of the bigger leaders in the rebellion. She is the one that's given the debriefing of Endor in Return of the Jedi.
I remembered that afterwards.
Yeah. She's huge, and, like, she got a bunch of character, like, arcs and development. Especially that second season, the whole her dancing at the party thing. That was memed for a while on TikTok, but that's also such...
But it's such a powerful moment.
Yes!
Because she's, like, oh man, we'll get into it in a minute because we'll talk about characters in a minute because there are some that I really want to dive into.
Okay.
Also some like arcs. Oh man, I really wish you didn't have to go to work.
You might have to just do this solo afterwards. Like,
Oh.
literally, like, mid-episode, it'll be like the less dramatic version of when a guest walks out.
think
I'll just
that's
be
a
like,
good
all right,
idea.
see you later. And then you hear me changing in the background. But, okay, so what else do you want to say about the general stuff? Because then we can go into characters. Because at the end of the day, this is about the characters themselves.
Right.
How do you feel about all of these character moments in general, piecing together what eventually becomes one of, if not the biggest moment that leads into Star Wars history?
It's such a phenomenal way to tell a story. It keeps you intrigued. Like, it's kind of what I think of as reading books with multiple POVs. At first you're like curious on how they all connect together, and then the more you watch, the more you're like, oh. And I think it was a really cool, fun way to show how many different connections people have and how many different people it takes to start a rebellion.
And not just that, how many people are affected by war in general, whether it's rebellion or not. I mean, that's the hugest part of this. There's a lot of crowd shots sometimes when it comes to multiple people in a shot. Like, you rarely get the one-on-ones or the monologue, I feel like, the internal monologue stuff compared to maybe other pieces, you know?
Yeah.
This emphasizes the people as a whole, as a player, as a big character. The smaller characters, much like the galaxy is made up of different smaller characters and planets, the people are a centralized character in this show, honestly. And again, to reference it again, huge thing on Palestine, because holy shit, I don't think they held back with the allegory. Like, you could tell a little bit sometimes they hold back with the allegory of the political conflict going on, whoever is, like, writing the piece in Star Wars. Sometimes there's a little bit of reining back. Even George Lucas, I feel like, did. There's no holding back here. This was a tough watch, through and through. So, which season was better, first of all, in regards to that, before we get to the specific characters? Which season had the most punch for you?
So Connor called me yesterday to see if I wanted to go out with him and Sam, but I needed to finish the show. And
Oh, he called you too, okay.
Yeah. So I was telling him that I was watching Andor, and he said that most people think that season 2 is better. And I get why.
Yeah.
I personally liked season 1 a little, like a teeny tiny bit better, just because it had some of my favorite scenes. Like, I think the whole prison arc was probably my favorite out of the whole
That's a good
whole
arc.
series.
Really good arc.
Because Cassian, it literally, okay, all right, let's talk about characters a little bit. So Cassian we know from Rogue One, but this we get a little bit deeper into how he joined the rebellion and where he all started. Because at the beginning, he is looking for his sister, because he hears that there is a girl working at essentially a strip club.
Yep.
And he finds out that she is from his home planet, and he thinks it's his sister. Everyone from that planet we already know is dead, like, but he still has that tiny bit of hope. But he ends up getting caught by some guards. They have an official title. I forget the official title off my head. But he gets stopped by them, and they're basically trying to rob him, and he ends up accidentally killing one of them.
Yep.
So now he's on the run. And he ends up like going through like this whole thing. He finally ends up escaping. I'm skipping a couple things here because we're on a time crunch. And then he ends up getting arrested anyway.
I love how they threw in law enforcement brutality.
Yeah.
Police brutality was thrown in this arc big time, especially, I feel like.
Because some other people are running away after committing a crime, and he is kind of looking around, because obviously he's on the run, but he's not on the run for what they're arresting the other people for.
Yep.
And he ends up getting caught in the crowd, and he ends up getting arrested and put into prison, and that is probably my favorite arc of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because even though we're only with those characters for a short amount of time, like, Kino was probably one of my favorite characters,
Kino
like, towards the end of his arc.
Yeah.
And it just makes his ending that much more sad.
You want to talk about specific characters then? And then we can tie it together to some arcs to maybe talk about. Okay, give me your thoughts on your characters. Take it how you want. You got a lot to say. I'm gonna let you take the reins, because I this is the biggest agree episode we'll ever have.
So on Cassian's home planet, we have obviously Cassian.
Yep.
We have Marva, his mother.
Yep.
Well, adopted mother. We have Bix, who is an ex-girlfriend and probably my favorite character of the whole series.
Wow. Okay.
I have a lot to say about her.
Okay.
And then we have, oh gosh, there's a couple other characters whose names I'm forgetting off of the top of my head.
You also can talk about Mon Mothma.
Yes. Well,
Mon Mothma.
yeah.
There's that.
And yeah, there's again Mon.
Kino.
Kino was the character that he met when he was in prison, and there's a couple of others. There's one character who had 40 shifts left, and he died, and I forget his name.
She is an emotional wreck already.
I am, because
there's a lot to
so
keep
much to
track
talk about, and there's so much to keep track of. There's so many names.
It's very important, though. It is all these pieces for a reason, you know. So,
all right, how do we want to do this before we start getting a little muddled?
Tackle it however, character from character, however you want.
All right, so we'll talk about the characters from Home Planet first. I think I enjoyed all of them. Like, this is where we start on his home planet, where just getting to know like they're a little bit part of the rebellion. Like, they are communicating with people like outside, but they aren't like front and center yet.
Yeah.
Until Cassian gets stopped by the guards. And that's really like the starting point of like Cassian getting drawn in and all of that. I'm like trying to figure out. Oh, he ends up getting drawn in by Luthen, who is the biggest character that is. Like, he's the one that connects every single character.
Yep. He's the anchor point for it. He's like the anchor. He's like point blank or ground zero for everything.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to put it. Anchor point zero, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like that's a good way to put it in some way.
Yeah, he is the one that pretty much connects everybody, and his ending killed me. Yeah. Didn't like it. Was not a fan.
Talk about each character and their ending, and we'll go with their arc.
So Bix, like I said, is Cassian's ex-girlfriend. And at the start of this, she has a guy who's like kind of boyfriend, she's just using as a rebound for Cassian. He ends up being the one, his name is Tim. He ends up being the one that turns Cassian in.
Yeah.
And she's obviously pissed off. He ends up getting shot, which, you know what? Honestly, I know we're supposed to feel bad for him, but I did not. I'm sorry, but you literally, just because you're fucking jealous of her ex-boyfriend, you literally ruined his life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you don't even know the full fucking story just because you're a jealous, insecure little asshole. I mean, he ended up being right, because they do reconnect later on in the series, but still, like, that does not give you the right. And of course,
wrong commitment.
Literally, he ends up getting shot.
Yeah, you already said it. He got shot,
and he dies. But Bix is after he ends up getting shot, she actually ends up getting taken, like kidnapped. And she's the one that goes through, arguably, to me, in my opinion, I think she's the one that goes through the most.
Okay.
In this series.
Care to elaborate?
So they end up torturing information out of her. It's not so much physical torture. Yeah. It's psychological torture. Yeah. Which, in my opinion, is the worst fucking kind. You can get rid of physical bruises. You can,
but the mental bandwidth that stays with you after that.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously PTSD is a huge thing in general. I mean, physical torture does cause way more mental torture. Waterboarding. How many people talk about that? Waterboarding. You want to talk about the war crimes that were committed by insert whatever army you want. No army is innocent of war crimes here, and like what they did to each other, capturing other prisoners of war. Physical torture is easy. It's much easier to get the scars off, you said. It's still hard in some cases. But
it's definitely hard. I'm not, like, diminishing that whatsoever.
But the mental bandwidth that comes with it is much,
Like, psychological torture is so tough.
Do you see that change in her after?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. And it sucks, because she was such a spunky person. Like, she's badass. And not that she was any less badass after she was kidnapped and tortured. But you can definitely see, like, there is a change in her. And it's not a change for the worse. It's just something that she obviously needs to go through. It does end up, like, she does end up kind of pulling herself out of it. Her and Cassian do end up reforming their bond. Though I'm not usually a huge fan of those kind of bonds, because, like, are you really falling in love with each other, or are you just trauma bonding?
Well, that's the toughest thing about this, because they've technically, did before, but was there always something there, or was it because of the trauma bonding of the war? You could argue it's one or the other. I think it's both.
I think it's both.
I think it leans more towards, away from trauma bonding, but you could tell a little bit is still there, unfortunately, because of the psychological damage done with the strain of war and the strain of this rebellion, Which, it's a very reasonable thing, though. It's a very untalked thing, the trauma bonding one and the camaraderie that is no longer there when the rebellion's over or when someone dies. I mean, these guys don't know if the war ends. And for a lot of people, quite frankly, that's not talked about, and it's touched on lightly here, you don't get that camaraderie. Like, you expect something out of out of this friendship, and that's usually violence or a goodbye that you don't want.
We got a goodbye, all right.
Oh, boy.
She gets pregnant with Cassian's child, and then she leaves him.
You okay?
Listen, she leaves him for the greater good, obviously. She doesn't want to, Cassian's ready to leave the rebellion for her and their child. She does not want to give him the option to do so, and honestly, it's in her right, and I can appreciate that she did that, because she wants the rebellion to come first. She wants to win. She wants to be on the winning side, and she knows that Cassian is the way to do that.
It is the biggest sacrifice, I think, in this show.
Such
It's
a
one of the
huge
biggest sacrifices in the show, I should say.
And why? I love her in the same way that I love Scarlet Witch. I feel like she's such a complex character.
Yeah. There is some interesting stuff to that as well,
Yeah.
obviously, yeah.
I wish she got more screen time.
Yeah.
I am happy, but also sad with her ending.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Just mixed feelings?
Mixed feelings. Like, I appreciate that she did that. Honestly, I respect it so much, because she could have just done what Padme did. And she didn't. She chose...
Caught strays. Oh, dear.
She chose to say, I'm going to go. I'm going to take care of our child. When you are done doing what you need to do, you can come find us.
It's respectable.
It is so respectful. And you can tell it was really hard for her to do. I respect it so much, but it makes me sad for her too, because she deserved that happy ending.
Which, now that you know that you watched Rogue One before this, I see it already.
I hate that.
She's fucking gonna cry, ladies and gentlemen.
Don't point and laugh at me.
Don't laugh, cry.
Yeah, okay,
Welcome
you
to
should
trauma.
Probably explain that before people think you're just telling me to cry.
I am not explaining that. We'll explain that at another time. But so it again. But like, I feel like getting you. I as much as I would feel like I'd go back and group Rogue One and Andor into one episode, I feel like we went the right course. You can appreciate the heaviness now. Like, we as the viewer know what's gonna happen to Cassian, but they don't. And they're willing to fight for it still. And, like, that's the biggest thing about, fighting for what you believe in. And especially right now in the current climate, which, again, I feel like Star Wars month has been the perfect month for more political bullshit to happen. We are currently in the midst of, protests after a ICE officer. Fuck that company. Fuck that. I'm going to call it a company because I hate companies and they don't deserve the respect of being officers, even though police officers are a different thing, obviously, too, which we all know. They shot and killed a woman trying to move out of the way. And you could argue, oh, they tried to run over. No, buddy, I've seen 5 angles. I feel like we all know where this is going. And now, one of the threads that I saw from a hockey brand I follow, Double Hockey Sticks, they are a great hockey brand, and very politically active, of course. is if you're gonna protest, go, but understand, but only do it if you think you're willing to know you might lose your life. Because that's the climate we're in right now, is that you can no longer protest peacefully. They're gonna use armed force on you out there in this world. It's the same thing here, though. They're willing to fight for what they believe in and protest and rebel, even though they might lose their lives at the end of the day. This is huge. They both know there may not be another hello after this, which makes their goodbye even worse, and why you see the strain of, like, am I actually going to leave on her face? I think it's huge. I think it's important. And I think the fact that at this moment in time, we are never going to see her reaction to finding out he died, like, I think that makes it more impactful. Mm-hmm. Like, now we can only imagine, as someone that has watched both pieces of media, what the hell they're feeling, you know? Because now this kid is going to grow up without a dad in this guy. Mm-hmm. He died fighting for what he believed in. And that's what they both wanted and understood, and it worked out in the way. Except for the First Order, but, you know, we can't have nice things. So, okay. Good arc. Heavy arc. Traumatizing already, going back to it. Anything else you want to say about that arc? Do you want to speak anything on Cassian's arc as well? Cassian, sorry. I keep combining it like it's the Chronicles of Narnia with Casper, and I know that's not the case, but I always say it. It's like Christy. When I spell Christy a certain way from our D&D group, but I grew up seeing it spelled a different way. And also, I'm used to European names sometimes, so, like, just with hockey. So it's hard to blend those two away when talking about it without hearing it directly first. It has been a minute since I watched the Andor episode recapping for this, but I apologize in advance. So, do you want to talk about him real quick? Because his arc is important,
Cassian is obviously the main character we're following throughout this. Obviously, we get the, like, side characters, but it's really Cassian at the center.
Yeah.
Cassie goes through it.
Oh, second worst, you think, behind? Yeah. Okay.
Well, first of all, we start out and he's on the run from the cops right away, and then of course he ends up getting arrested, and that is the arc that I want to talk about, probably the most. That and the Gorman.
Yes.
Because that's a huge turning point in this whole show. But the prison arc. So he goes to prison.
Yep.
And they have all of these rules. First of all, they have to be barefoot, which if you don't like feet, you probably want to skip that.
Great side note. Important war.
Listen, they really zoom in on their feet.
They do, actually. They do, and I hate to say it, but it doesn't make the allegations of Hollywood being obsessed with feet any less relevant. I hate to say it, but you have a point there. Right. It's so disgusting as I accidentally dismember my chair.
But there's a point. There is a purpose to it. They have to be barefoot because all of the floors are connected to, like, it's like a taser.
Yes.
But, like, if you step on it at certain points, you will be fried. Your whole body is fried. Mm-hmm. Which we see in one scene when one of the prisoners has decided he has had enough and decides to step on it from his own free will.
Yep.
And he, unfortunately, dies. Yeah, so that was actually really, really, really tough scene to watch. Benson comes in literally as I'm watching the scene, and I'm like, oh my god.
I mean, the way they talk about it, too, like, the prisoners are so nonchalant, though, a little bit about it. Yeah. And they're more worried about the smell than anything, you know?
Yeah, I think,
like, that's what's wild. Like, it's so normalized, and I feel like that's a good commentary in society as a whole, too. Just the violent acts and, like, trying to take the easy way out in regards to, like, getting out of prison or the war or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Well, not the easy way. Sorry, let me rephrase that. We're trying to find the only way, I should say. What people see is the easy way. That's what I'm trying to get at. Society sees it as the easy way out. For someone like that prisoner, it's the only way out. It's not fun. But to everyone else, including society, it's so normalized. And all they could talk about when I walked in, I remember the scene, was the fucking smell. They're like, the smell.
Yeah,
it's going to be so bad.
We're completely desensitized to the fact that a person just died. No, it was he's officially lost it. Like, they had made a comment about, like, seeing something in his eyes. They knew he was going to do it.
Yep.
And like all they really have, like they do work every day. They work in shifts. Basically, it's like a huge competition. Every single table is like against each other, and they're trying to see who can put together the most parts. And whoever, like the losing table, ends up getting tased at the end of the day. And oh my god, it's awful to watch.
It's not an easy scene, but it's the side of war and prison holds and just honestly federal prisons and just the prison law system in general that isn't talked about enough. I mean, there's still shit that we find out now about federal prisons and just prisons in general and the way people are treated, and also just prisoners of war in general too, where you're like, oh my god, there's still shit that comes out even about conflict now where you go, that's horrible. It's not a good feeling, and it's uncomfortable, but it's a necessary watch. I feel like it's ugh. My throat's closing just thinking about it. It's such a multi-layered watch for that.
Hi, Maxie.
As our cat walks in, hi, Maxie. You came in at a heavy time, buddy. Yeah, I'm sorry.
He wants to play. Maxie's been really wanting to play lately.
Yeah.
But it's not playtime yet.
We'll try to soon. I promise, buddy.
But we end up meeting some really interesting characters in this whole arc. I forget the older guy's name who Cassian works with. He has 40 shifts left. Mm-hmm. 40 shifts. And this goes back to what Benson said about, for some people, there is only one way out. Well, we find out that there actually is only one way out. Mm-hmm. Because it does not matter that our friend had 40 shifts left. He ends up, unfortunately, dying anyway. He had suffered a stroke from all of the work that he was doing. And he was an older guy.
Yeah.
So that sucked, because one of my notes was literally, he had 40 fucking shifts left, and then right after that, we find out that it does not matter. Mm-hmm. So a little bit earlier in that episode, we found out that they had fried an entire floor, over 100 people, because they were causing commotion, because one of the people from another floor, his time was up. He was supposed to be set free. But he ended up getting transferred to a different floor.
Yep.
And that floor found out, caused a whole commotion about it, and they all paid the price. And upon finding that out, that they're not getting out whatsoever, the entire prison, Cassian, Kino, everybody, and Kino is like the most... Like, he was so strict and by the book. He's like, I'm just going to serve my time, and then I'm going to get out of here. And then he finds out that he's never getting out.
Well, I feel like that's such the most important thing. Like, for somebody that's never been through it to finally see that perspective, it's life-changing, you know?
Yeah.
You're using, and this is a real thing, you're using prisoners for free fucking labor in this system. And again, wow, the irony of that, just going to put that out there, America especially. You're using prisoners for free labor and making them think they're going to get out eventually, and then complications with the law and some transfer here, some transfer there, God forbid. You're not. Mm-hmm. I mean, that is an important character arc where the one that turns a blind eye or is blissfully unaware and privileged to not be in that position finally gets the wake-up call, you know?
Yep. So they all completely stage an uproar, and they all end up getting out, except for Kino, because this prison is basically, it's an island. Yeah. The only way to get in and out is through ships. Kino can't swim, and those are the last words that we hear from him as Cassian is pushed over the edge by the crowd, and they all have to swim to shore, and Kino cannot swim. So he just led everybody to freedom, knowing that he was not going to be one of the ones who makes it out. Yeah. That broke me. Oh. That fucking broke me.
It just continues to add to the theme, though, that they're willing to die for this shit. They know the risks. They know everything. They're willing to put their life on the line for it. It's tough. This is a tough show to talk about.
Oh,
Fuck.
It is tough. I know. I'm going to cry.
I thought I was going to be ready for this as someone that's always talking about these things, but, like, it's tough. It's like the most realistic And not even real, like, and when I say most realistic for this, though, that's not even capturing all the brutality of it all. Like, this is the most realistic in regards to being the closest we've gotten with media, I feel like, mainstream-wise, to capture the horrors of war and, you know, the law itself. This still doesn't uncover a lot of things, but it does a damn good job still of presenting a lot of stuff to the general public's eye when watching this. I want to deviate away from the pieces in this war and go to someone that is behind the curtain, though, that you could yell a lot more at. Mon Mothma, the leader who is leading this rebellion, yes, but she still gets to live this kind of privileged high life at the end of the day.
Yeah, Gorman was a turning point for her. Until that point, though, she wasn't fully... I don't think she fully understood what she was getting into.
She didn't, and she thought she could still cater to, like, her old life. As if, you know, honestly, she wasn't as any different from the Empire. She was letting pieces below her go do the work for her and didn't get her hands wet. And that also calls out, I feel like, a lot of people out there right now, Democrats and all that shit, that, and anybody that even relates liberally, I should say, that thinks that they can say all these things on the internet or, you know, think a certain way, but when it comes to getting your hands dirty finally, whether it's speaking up more or, you know, being a part of a protest, if you can, you don't see anything. And it also speaks, I feel like, to people that agree with one thing, but then suddenly an implication or something different pops up that, you know, pushes it even more one way. You go, whoa, like, you know, complications sometimes with things. Like, you have to understand the risks with everything. You can't go back to your normal life when you are made aware of these situations. You can't go, okay, but this could have been this here. Going back to the recent ICE shooting, you can't be like, all right, well, she shouldn't have tried to run him over, but she didn't. Did you even look at all angles? Did you actively take part in being a part of understanding what is happening, you know? Like, I'm just gonna put it out there, honestly. Like, it's a big call out to both sides, not just obviously politicians, but people that claim to be a part of the cause, but when it comes to getting your hands dirty or say something, you don't say anything. And that's a big thing where you don't need to say anything online all the time. Like, being chronically online is dangerous now, but you at least have to say something in your own life to, like, you know, to somebody. Whether it's somebody in conversation about this, your partner, or just acknowledging it yourself and carrying a heavier heart knowing that you have to be a part of a bigger cause now that you're made aware of this and see it's bullshit. So I think Mon Mothma's part of her arc was huge for that. So why don't you talk a little more about Mon Mothma's arc? I've already said my symbolism, and connected it to the real world as Benson does.
She is such an interesting character. I was not sure about her at first. I wasn't really fully interested in her arc, her storyline.
Yeah.
Sorry, indigestion.
Your tum-tum, it's okay. It's a heavy topic.
No, it is a heavy topic. She grew on me, though. She started getting more interesting. I was really intrigued to see where she was going with everything. Especially when her daughter was getting married. Her daughter is 14, and because of the planet that she grew up on, it is custom to get married very, very young.
Yup.
And so they have to arrange a marriage for her, in order to raise money. And you can really see that fucks with her. She starts realizing, I don't want to do this. Like, I didn't want to go through with my marriage. Like, why should I make my daughter do it?
She's breaking the norms.
Yeah, it really starts to put things into perspective for her a little bit.
Yeah.
And then Gorman, I feel like we should just talk about this because this is where...
Do we want to just get to the Gorman stuff then?
Yeah. So this is where the whole turning point in the show. This happens in season 2. Mm-hmm. Gorman is... I don't know. Can you explain it? Because I'm not really sure how to.
I don't think I can without fucking losing it. So I'll fill in the pieces. You go ahead. I'm still kind of reeling over what I just said. This is a nauseating episode because it's such a tough episode.
Yeah.
But it's stuff that we're used to talking about every day anyways. But damn it, it's still not tough. But go ahead.
Gorman is a planet where a good part of season 2 takes place.
Mm-hmm.
And it's where, like I said a couple times now at this point, it's really the turning point of this whole show and people realizing their rebellion is real. There's this war is real. There's a reason that we need to fight this.
It's not just the spark like an Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
To tie that to that, actually.
Yeah. To sum it up, we end up with, we're starting with a peaceful protest.
Yep.
A peaceful protest.
Oh boy.
And all of the people all around, they're chanting. They start out chanting, and then they end up singing, breaking into what I assume is their national song. And war ends up breaking out. Mon says it very accurately when she's talking about it in her speech. It was a genocide. It's exactly what it is, and it was unprovoked. It was really supposed to be a peaceful protest, and I think this is where Mon especially really realizes what she's in and just how important this is, because this is when she really speaks out for the first time against Palpatine.
Yeah.
She's saying, this monster is the one that caused this, and this monster is Emperor Palpatine. And that immediately puts a target on her back. She's fucked.
Yeah, I mean... Oh, sound familiar, America? Yikes.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Okay.
So I'm really simplifying it because, like I said, we don't have a ton of time to talk about it, but that is, the huge turning point, and it's such a powerful scene. We go from watching this whole community singing just a peaceful song and, celebrating who they are as people, and...
Gunned down.
They completely get gunned down, and it's an awful thing to witness, and they do not shy away from it. There's no blackout scenes.
Nope.
You see everything.
Yeah. I mean, even... And this is where I think, even though I fucking hate Disney as a whole, especially holding Star Wars, I think the balls of whoever is directing it comes into play the most. We talked about Finn and the bloodied helmet, and... That was only implied. You didn't see it completely, though, when they killed that entire village after Poe's capture and that humanized Finn. Yeah. Oh boy, you don't get that here.
No.
It's a hard watch, but it's important. I can't say that enough about any of this. I mean, it's I think forcing people not to look away, which is good.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's definitely a powerful scene. We end up losing one of the side characters as well, who we have not talked about yet. Another storyline we get is Cyril and Dedra.
Yeah.
And Dedra is one of the... what is she, an ISB agent?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the name I
that's her
remember.
title. And Cyril is also an agent. He's actually the reason that Cassian was... being so originally when Cassian killed one of the what's his name, the who kills who he killed.
I'm sorry, I'm answering questions as well. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I was answering a question, but
the person that was in charge of that whole thing just said, You know what, it's pretty obvious what happened. I think these two jumped him and Cassian fought back. Let's just let it go. Cyril is the one that decided to pursue it. He is the reason that Cassian was on the run to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
And then him and Dedra end up kind of hooking up and becoming a little bit of a couple, so it just makes it so much worse. We end up, Cyril ends up dying in this scene, and of course Dedra is pissed. I don't think she fully understands what she's fighting.
No.
She is another interesting character that I hate her, but...
She thinks she's following a moral compass, and that it's a black and white thing.
Yeah.
That's the issue here. Do you agree with that more than anything?
Her ending, honestly, I didn't hate her, and her ending was, it was satisfying, but it wasn't satisfying, because she ends up getting arrested.
Yeah.
Because she had hid some files that she was not supposed to have access to.
Oh!
She had access to them, and she hid it from her superiors. So that she ends up getting arrested on suspicion of being a rebel.
Yep.
Which so satisfying, but so unsatisfying, because we see a little bit of her background, and we know that she thinks she's fighting for the greater good, but she's a little confused. She's misguided. I think that's a good word. She thinks it's so
simple. Yeah.
Yeah, I think she just doesn't fully understand the grand scope.
Nope.
And there are times where it almost seems like she will, like when she loses Cyril, because I think she really did love him.
Yeah. I certainly agree.
Yeah, when he dies, you think almost like it's like a flip, like a switch being flipped, and she doesn't quite get there. I think if we had a little more time with her, maybe she would have. But she's a very tough character.
I think that
pinpoint.
I think that situation is. I feel like more time would have been great, but also like I feel like where it ended is fine for the type of arc. I'm tired. I'm sorry. For the type of arc she had in regards to politics and just talking thematically about the different type of political people and people involved in protests and trying to do good or quote unquote understand moral rights, blah blah blah. I think it ended where it should, because she got caught up. So maybe now she will understand it's no longer just black and white. You're trying to do moral good, because now she got caught in it. Now she understands firsthand, in a karmic way, what happened.
Yeah.
So now it's basically like, holy shit, it's an awakening, and maybe she will eventually, go into the rebellion. Maybe she won't. We will never know, because that is up for her to decide.
She was arrested. Literally, her last scene, she's in prison.
I know.
I don't think we're going to see anything.
Well, that's what I mean. If there's a prison break or if there's anything, that's what I mean. That's left up to our interpretation on those type of people involved in the political landscape today. Mm-hmm. Once you finally get that karmic wheel of justice and understand, it's like, all right, do you pretend like it was they were just doing their job? Or do you actually wake up and understand the system is fucked? Mm-hmm. It's not black and white. So that's up to the viewer, I feel like, to interpret in a good way, in my opinion. I feel like more time, I agree, for that arc would have been great. But also, it now leaves it up to her. Mm-hmm. And we will never know. Unless they do a money grab scheme for a season after. I don't think any character that's imprisoned or survives or anything else from this series, in my opinion, should have a series again. Mm-mm. I don't. I think the way they ended everything is great, because by God does it leave everything up to the imagination if you are someone that is involved in the political landscape now and just are aware of the bullshit happening in the world. I think it's a great thing, but I feel like it also leaves the tension for, again, the fact that we understand Rogue One happens and our main character is a main character still in another part of the universe, but then dies anyways for that greater good. I think this, as its own thing with Rogue One, are perfect as they are. You don't need to expand on any more characters. I think everything was written to a T, handling different approaches for different people involved in conflicts like this, in social injustices like this. Either side, the people in between, and the consequences of everything. It explored a lot. There's a lot to go over, but...
yeah. I mean, we could literally be here for 2 hours. There's a lot of people to talk about. There's a lot of places to talk about. We talked about the two main things that I wanted to talk about. So
even if we weren't on a time crunch, I feel like, I feel like it'd be hard to narrow everything without this being 3-4 hours or a two-parter,
Yeah.
And there's so much. I feel like we should circle back to this in the grand scheme of Star Wars in our wrap-up for Part 1, or even in general at the end of May. Because this is a huge series that really shakes the foundations of how you interpret Star Wars media. Like, if people... Okay, let me ask this then. I'm going to ask you this, and this is not related to anything plot-wise. Actually, it kind of is, I guess. I'm going to just come out and say it without complicating it. Do you feel like this series was the biggest wake-up call for people that say Star Wars is not political? Or woke?
Who whatever.
or has gone woke.
Oh my god,
There are genuinely people.
I know there would be, but if you go into Star Wars thinking that this isn't political,
well, people don't see the undertone politics of the real world in some way. Like, and people, it's like the Punisher from Marvel, for example. How every Republican has that Punisher skull on their truck, even though people will argue the Punisher would hate what law enforcement has become. It's the same with Star Wars. People, and yes, George Lucas started it out at first where there's a typical good guy and a bad guy, light and dark side. But that's mainly the Jedi and Sith, you can argue, in the war itself. They're supposed to represent political parties and leaders and the Vietnam undertones and everything else, yes. We got a series that explored everyone else that isn't a Jedi or Sith and really shows the politics of Star Wars. And this feels like a call-out for the last decade or so, where people are saying Star Wars was never this political and it's gone woke. Do you feel like this is the biggest wake-up call?
I really hope so. I
feel like this is a fuck you.
First of all, if you read any interview from George Lucas about why Star Wars was created, you will know most of these movies are based on real life wars.
People are going to ignore it though because they see, oh my, like for example, sorry to interrupt, by the way, sorry. This is pissing me off now that I asked it. But like you're going to see people basically being like, oh my god, you know, like Mark Hamill, for example. Mark Hamill has spoken out a lot about things recently. And a lot, like, mainly Republicans, I want to say it. They say he's gone to the dark side and that the very hero has become part of the Empire or the First Order. And it's wild. Now, again, do not completely quote me. Because I'm not entirely sure what he has said about the Israel-Palestine conflict. Because I think there's some complications with that, unfortunately, that get really bad. I don't know. I could be wrong. But in general, with like the Donald Trump stuff especially, like people have said, man, the very embodiment of light has turned to the dark side. Shame on Mark Hamill. As if Luke didn't fight against the equivalent of what would be Donald Trump's administration or any administration that we have gone through where it's social injustice.
Yeah,
I feel like this has been a big call out.
People are going to... Okay, so the good thing about media, not talking about Star Wars for a second, the great thing about most media is it's subjective. You can interpret it the way that, you want to. Like, however, you can't really do that with Star Wars.
Yeah. I mean, I would argue with media in general sometimes in regards to, like, social or political stuff. It's hard to argue. Other undertones, yes. But when a director makes it clear in a piece of media where they stand in regards to, like, conflicts politically or socially, you can't interpret that how you will. You know what I mean?
That's fair.
So.
But, yeah, I just meant, like, media as a whole, not necessarily war films.
Well, even media as a whole, like, I mean, there are some media that have some implications of social stuff as well that aren't specifically war films. Taxi Driver. Like, yeah, it's a veteran, but, like, it's set in New York during a time of unrest. So, but I digress. Continue. Continue.
I would hope this series is a turning point for a lot of people because this gets down to the nitty-gritty of war and rebellion and what it really means. And I don't know how you can see the Gorman scene as a whole and say this is not happening in our world right now.
Yep.
Because if you truly watch that scene and think, oh, this is just fiction, I'm sorry, you're delusional. And I'm actually not sorry, but you're delusional. This shit happens every single day.
This has been happening for years. I mean, to call back indigenous people, America, I mean, hey, let's talk about that. Slavery in general. Ooh, trigger word on YouTube. YouTube, if that's a trigger word, we gotta talk, homeboy. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I guess I see why you would call it a trigger word, because terrible people. But in a general context, slavery, and just even now, again, Palestine, Ukraine, you got the Congo, Sudan. I think I'm saying that right. I am so sorry, but like, it's just there's a lot going on. Mm-hmm. So, and also America itself, like, I feel like we are at a point, especially for transgender people, where it feels like an eradication. that they're trying to do, you know? So my wife has a great point where if you look at this and say, damn, you know, this doesn't happen in real life, or man,
this is a great piece of fiction.
Or even worse, if you look at this and compare it to the real world and go, okay, but that's not how it actually happened like this, you know, like people of Palestine. I mean, I feel like, you know, say what you will about whatever culture you want and how they treat LGBTQ or just, you know, social in general, because no society is perfect, but I feel like, and maybe this is just me, I feel like that isn't grounds for genocide and trying to take over land. I'm just gonna put that out there, you know? Like, I think that's the thing that people are missing here. And if you look at that scene and think, well, that's not how it happened, or what about the implications of this, and don't see parallels, then I'm sorry, you are a part of the wrong side.
Yeah.
Way too many times, you know?
Yeah.
We've said it before. We're on the right side. My wife put it perfectly. Free Palestine. You know, Black Lives Matter.
Free Palestine, Black Lives Matter, pro-LGBTQ.
Ukraine, Congo, all that shit. And I feel like this series really cemented it, as if it wasn't enough.
Yeah.
About how important it is to say that stuff now and start being a part of the rebellion. And if you haven't already, have your awakening like Mon Mothma did, before you fall to the other side and stay asleep forever. So, hey, if woke means waking up, then time to wake up, bitches.
If you're still looking at Star Wars as a silly little sci-fi franchise, then you really need to look a little deeper, because I feel like it's not even sci-fi anymore.
No, it ain't.
I would argue historical fiction, but like it's not even historical because it's happening right now.
It is still technically going to be. It is just history. I mean, Andor takes, even with the space travel aside, feels like the most heavy, realistic, non-sci-fi thing in this catalog for Star Wars. You know, like even Rogue One had some fantastical elements. You know, with spirituality in there and being one with the Force. This does not have that. This is just right to the fucking point. And like, yes, you have all this tech and spaceships and planets and all that, but you swap planets out with countries and you really aren't having anything different. You swap spaceships out with like fighter jets, you're not having anything different here. You could have leeway in other Star Wars media, sure, but here you swap out what I just said for the other, you don't have much of a difference, honestly. And I think that's the biggest strength this has. And I'm going to be honest, I don't think George Lucas could have made this. I don't think he could have made it like this. In a way, I am still pissed the Disney merge did happen, but I'm glad George Lucas is happy with his family, obviously. I'm so upset and disappointed with how Star Wars has been handled by Disney as a whole. However, I am glad this kind of merge did happen because they gave way to a director and a team that had the balls to come out and say, hey, fuck you, and make one of the best pieces of media, I think, in the 2020s. One of the best Star Wars pieces in general.
It's really funny that you mentioned the director, because I think after the Gorman episode, literally the directed by popped up, and I literally went, well, you know what? Fuck her, and I turned it off. Because I was just really, really, really upset.
But it worked.
So
it worked.
It did work.
And that's the point of Star Wars. So,
before we wrap things up, I know we talked a lot about characters because obviously, again, this is a very character-driven show. But one thing I really, really want to talk about, and then we can start wrapping up a little bit so you can relax before you have to get ready for work.
Yep.
Is the ability to create a storyline with just music and sounds.
Oh, I love when media is able to do that so well.
So this really does that. There are a couple episodes where half the episode is barely filled with dialogue and the other half is just scenery and music, and that is what's telling you the story. And that is about, I want to say, 40 to 50% of this whole show.
It's a good chunk. It's more than other shows are willing to do, honestly.
And it's so impactful.
Best music think post John Williams?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's tough because no world in this series is bright or colorful. They're literally what you're looking for or what you're looking towards is the music and the scenery. Like, you're not looking for the bright, pretty things. You are looking at how dark and dreary and just hopeless everything feels. But the music, it adds to that.
Yeah.
So much.
It does.
And
it's good at it.
It tells that story beautifully without needing words from a character.
So let me ask you this, because that is an important part that I honestly wasn't sure you were going to bring up or not, and that was going to be one of my questions. Do you think Andor would work well if they kept this course and the music is not as good?
No.
Yeah? Do you think the series would hit as well? Because it still hits well with the dialogue and the scenery, but if the music didn't play as integral a part as it did, do you think Andor would work as well?
No.
Yeah? Even if they didn't take this path and the music was still there, like, do you think it would hit well? Or is music still such an integral part to this and setting stuff up?
I mean, if there was music, like, if there was more dialogue, I don't feel like they would need to rely on the music. But if they just kept it the way it was and just had, like, a subpar soundtrack, I just don't think the intent would be there.
I guess that was the second part to my question then. So they had more dialogue and they have the music. Would it still be impactful? Do you feel like it would just do more talking at you instead of showing and it wouldn't work?
Yeah, I agree. I think that's exactly what would happen.
Yeah, so honestly, like, this is a Hail Mary then, and they knew it, and they had to go all out, and I think they did do it. I think this is one of the best Star Wars soundtracks we've gotten that isn't John Williams, and is also one of the best soundtracks since, you know, like, I was going to say Rogue One, but maybe even go back a little more, all the way back to Revenge of the Sith with John Williams himself. Yeah. So,
well, I think because it's not just the music. It relies on the scenery as well to paint the picture and tell the story.
Yes.
I think, though, that combination works beautifully. I think you can't have one without the other, and if you try to, it just wouldn't work as intended.
I feel like you could, except one overpowers the other. And then that goes back to the point where it's like it's more telling than showing.
So that's what I said. It would not work.
Oh, I'm fucking stupid.
It wouldn't work if you had one more than the other. They rely on each other. They're partners. They need to balance.
I do agree.
If they don't balance...
Now that I get you, I agree.
Right, if they don't balance, then it does not work.
Exactly. And I feel like you could have, like, some decent things there if there's an imbalance, but it's not going to hit as well. Like, there are a lot of shows and movies out there that hit hard because of the scenery, but the music doesn't, and vice versa. But I do agree that balance is the most crucial thing. That's why I love Godzilla -1 so fucking much. Like, holy shit. The scenery and music for that is insane. Hey, another political piece. Just saying.
All right.
But I do agree. I think that balance is always needed for something like this. But I do think one overpowering the other can work. It's not as effective. So now that I get what you mean, I agree as well. And it's always something you have to understand taking a risk for. So yeah, okay.
I think the risk definitely paid off in this case, but it made me sad. So if you see a divorce lawyer in our future, it's because Benson keeps making me watch sad things.
Oh, don't worry. I'm taking her to see the Lord of the Rings extended films in theaters this next weekend.
I'm excited.
You've read the books. I can't wait for the films.
I know. We do have Tolkien on our wheel at some point, so we're going to have to rewatch them anyway. Because I can't take notes in a movie theater.
No, you could try. You could just bring a fucking notepad.
I wouldn't be able to see what I'm writing.
The screen's right there. It's fucking bright. There's a giant fucking phone screen. That predates the phone. You know what it's called? Ask me what it's called.
What's it called?
A movie projector!
All right.
20 times the size of a phone!
Do you have any other questions for me, my dear?
No. I really think this is... Because we are always talking about politics on the show, because it always circles back with our media indulgence. And I'm not sorry. And I don't think she's sorry.
I'm not sorry at all.
Okay, good. Fuck you if you think I'm sorry. I can't wait for some hater to go in the trap in this and be like, oh my god, let me stop you right there. Suck a dick. Fuck your own ass. Go fuck your mother, you incel. Anyways. Woo! I got that out of my system. I haven't had jabs like that since I was fighting people in hockey, so. True story, actually.
Right.
But I don't have anything else. But, before we end, I do want to acknowledge we finally got a comment.
Oh my goodness.
Well, first of all, I want to shout out Balloon Boy for support. Someone from my community, because I saw your comment. And you were the OG comment.
Yes.
I should say. Just, you love us too much, you would never cancel us. I forget the context for that episode. I think it was a Jim Henson episode. But I wanna give a shout out to this first ever comment, video 182, who says in our burnout video, "Is this the Cats lady?" And let me answer your question. Yes, I am. Now we could do the wrap up.
I don't know what that comment is referring to. Like, I post our cats all the time.
No. It's not about you. I'm the Cats lady.
You're
yes.
the Cats lady?
I am the Cats lady. And I'm not going to answer any further. Please do the wrap up.
I'm so confused.
Do the wrap up!
Alright, so we don't know what we're going to be talking about next because we have decided to do a part 2 to Star Wars, and that will be in May.
So we've been kind of circling back old ideas, like talking about the canon,
Yes, so we're going to do a canon episode. That'll be mainly Benson talking.
As if that isn't already a thing. I digress.
And then we're going to do mostly episodes on some video games.
Because, yes, Catch Up Corner is a lot of TV shows and movies, but the other thing she has to catch up on is indeed video games.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we can work those segues in, hopefully, once we get more popular and are able to make this more of a thing.
Yes.
So, with that being said, I guess my question of the day is, what did you think of Andor? And that's it. I got nothing else. And also, are you the Cats lady? Is there just a Cats lady inside all of us? I'm trying to lighten the mood after just the heaviest episode we've definitely done yet. Are you indeed the Cats lady? Let us know in the comments down below.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what's your favorite happy movie so I can go watch it and not be sad anymore?
I can't promise that. I can't promise that. I can't promise that.
Thanks for so much.
Thanks for so much.
For
Yoda,
so
please. He wasn't even in this series.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us in the Catch-Up Corner. We'll see you guys next time. I don't know with what.
I don't know either. That's the joy. Bye.
Bye.